welcome to Dub Sock Live, brought to you by FitAid, trying to process the way that this game ended. Klay Thompson's amazingly executed three-point shot to tie the game late. The Pistons got the ball back with 1 second. Saddiq Bey fired the three-pointer that won for the Pistons. So the Warriors' 5-game winning streak comes to an end, a tough one here at Chase Center. I'm Kerith Burke. Monte Poole will be joining me in just a moment as he wraps up some things in the locker room. So Klay Thompson almost looked like he was going to have another game where he had the heroics. This was his third straight game where he had 30 or more points. Remember, in double overtime, he had 54 points against the Hawks, the most in his career since he came back from the leg injury. You know, his career high is 60, but coming off of that ACL and Achilles injury, 54 for Klay in the last game, and then 30 in this one. 17 points in the fourth quarter. Didn't hit his first three-pointers until the fourth quarter. It really looked like this was going to be one of those games where Klay powered them through again, but it just wasn't their night. Klay sat down at the podium, moments ago. Let's get his thoughts on a tough finish.
Klay?
Yo.
How frustrating was a loss like this? I mean, it looks like you guys, every chance you guys got to get close against Detroit, they would come back and nail a big shot after you guys would cut the lead to like 3 or 1.
Well, it never feels good. I thought we fought really, really hard tonight. I think the story, I mean, we fought very hard and gave ourselves a chance to win it. Bey made an incredible shot, so credit to him. But just a hard-fought, gutsy effort, and I'm really proud of every single man who played. I mean, 5 wins in a row at home. Hopefully we can bounce back Saturday and another one in a couple days after that. So we have a great opportunity to really finish great on this last home stretch.
What do you think Jordan can learn from some of these late game situations where the burden is more on him than he's ever had before?
Well, I told him in the locker room, there's a reason I hit the ball toward the end of regulation, is because he's like that. He's a clutch player. He's a shot creator, and we would not have been on this win streak without him. So I know that we all go through those lapses early in our career. I mean, I remember missing 2 free throws against the Nuggets when I'm my second year and just leaving the arena in my uniform. So it's like we all got to go through it. Steph went through it, and Jordan, we're going to continue to trust him with the ball in his hands because he's like an engine that makes us go.
Klay, how confused were you and everybody else when Draymond all of a sudden is gone from the game with about a minute plus to go coming out of that timeout?
Yeah, it was unfortunate because Draymond is such an important piece of what we do, but still could have had a chance to win. And yeah, it sucked. He got kicked out. I mean, but it's not his fault we lost. Like, we had a great chance to win.
Klay, you guys sold out Chase Center again tonight, despite all what's going on with the weather outside. What are your thoughts on all the fans who braved that storm just to be here tonight?
I hope they get home safely. That's the most important. But they were great, this whole run, and I know they will continue to be. We appreciate their energy. They've helped us will us to wins. This whole season, and there's a reason why our record's so great at home, is because it's a reflection of the energy that we feed off from them.
Can you drive your boat through a storm like this?
I could, but that's just not ideal. I mean, have you seen The Perfect Storm? It doesn't end well, so I'm not trying to do that. But she is a beast, but it's just too bumpy.
Obviously, development isn't linear, and for Jordan to kind of go through these growing pains that you mentioned you also went to early in your career, just how do you help a young guy get through this? He was obviously really disappointed in himself after that turnover with 6 seconds left.
You just tell him it's going to be all right and continue to work hard, and there's a reason he's an NBA champion. We would not have that banner without Jordan's efforts, so it's just about sticking to the process and working your absolute hardest, and the work will reveal itself. So I have no worries about Jordan. I think we're much better than our record reflects, and we're not even whole yet. So we have a lot of great basketball ahead of us, so it's not time to hang our heads.
You mentioned early in your career, walking home after a Nuggets loss. Do losses like this sting more, particularly regular season losses, sting more early in careers?
Yes.
Why do you think that is?
Because you want to be so great every night, and you have a high expectation of yourself. I know Jordan does. I do as well. And you just expect to be great, even if it's, unrealistic to do for 82 games. You still want to be your best, and it never feels great when you go home after a game and you feel like you could have done this differently and could have helped us win. But that's just a part of being an athlete, is the ups and downs and embracing that journey.
Klay, do you feel like
Nice to hear from Klay Thompson after this one. Monte Poole, thanks for joining us. And, looking in the YouTube comments and just looking at some of the storylines emerging after this game, I would say there are two we need to talk about. Number one, Draymond Green picked up his 12th technical foul. You know that you can accrue 15, and then if you get to 16, that's a suspension. He's at 12 before the halfway mark in the season. I thought these two technicals tonight. Now, the first one, I don't know what he said to the referee. This one right here, our Dalton Johnson got more information. He talked to Draymond in the locker room, and Draymond said he was telling Stewart, just chill out, bro.
Yeah.
He was diffusing this situation, but it resulted in double technicals. That means Draymond is out of there. That almost felt like smart gamesmanship from Stewart's perspective to get Draymond out at the end of this game.
Yeah, Stewart is known for being really feisty. I mean, he's gotten into it with almost half the league, it feels like at times, including Draymond. I mean, he got into it with LeBron James, which people just kind of don't do that, but he did. So I thought that second technical foul was really soft.
I did too.
For Draymond, I mean, you didn't see him do anything aggressively. You didn't see him beef. You didn't see anything like that. But the officials did what they did. He has 12 technical fouls. Steve Kerr expressed no concerns about him getting to 16. And I understand that because he's never done it before. He's gotten close. He's gotten close.
But he hasn't gotten this close at this point in the season.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Because for Draymond, he's going to get some reputation technicals. That's the problem. Draymond might show all the restraint, or he might feel like he's showing restraint, but a referee might see it differently.
True, because of his history, the reputation. You're right. But I think when you get to, in the past, when he's gotten to 13, 14, 15, he's been able to restrain himself. And so I'm going to trust him on that until he breaks it. He hasn't done it before. No, I mean, he's had a lot of technicals before. He's gone the last month of the season without one. This time he may have to go the last 2 months without one, But I think he understands his value to this team and knows that, especially with this team the way it is right now, the margin for error is so small and his value is so high that, if he gets to a point at any point in this season where he misses a game, it's going to hurt him big time. So I'm going to trust him on this and think that, he won't get to 16 because he hasn't done it before, no matter how many technical fouls he racked up in the first 40 or 50 games. And we're, 39 games now, so there we are.
Just revisiting that video, it clearly looked like Draymond was showing restraint in that moment.
Absolutely.
So Stewart grabbed his jersey. In return, Draymond grabbed his.
Right.
To me, it just felt like, just hold on. We're going to just stay put for just a second.
Stewart was upset because Draymond blocked him out. And Draymond blocked him out, and guys don't want to be blocked out, and I guess maybe he thought Draymond was too aggressive with his block out.
I don't know, that feels like basketball in the ending minutes of a game.
Yes, and so that's the other thing about this. The timing of this second technical foul, you just, in the final seconds of a game like this, you tend not to go to the extreme. And in Draymond's case, they knew he had a technical foul because they called it.
Yeah.
So they knew that another technical foul, he's going to be gone, and they called it anyway. So curious. I mean, I don't think the last 2-minute report will be much help. But it didn't look like it warranted that from what I saw, and I think from what most anybody else saw.
Yeah, and I think Steve Kerr saw that the same way. He tried, I wouldn't call it delicate talking about this. He didn't want to make it necessarily about the referees, but he did address double technicals as a concept. Let's hear from Steve Kerr.
In my mind, it's like, do we have to call a double technical and eject a guy from the game because two guys in a really competitive game in the most competitive basketball league on earth are, oh my, who knew they were going to actually get a little upset with each other? Like, this is the game. This is what people pay to see, like competition at its highest form. So to come out of the timeout, we've already drawn up our play. Draymond's on the floor, and then we got inbound the ball, and they tell us Draymond's been ejected. That's a tough one. I haven't experienced that before. I prefer in those situations where, the officials have the awareness that somebody's got a tee. We're not going to kick them out because two guys get into a little, yelling match or whatever it was. If it's earned, it's earned. And maybe I'm totally wrong. If I'm wrong, then that's my fault. But I don't really believe there should be double technicals that lead to an ejection for that.
Yeah, I don't like that either, because then double tees becomes a strategy, especially if you're someone like Draymond who picked one up early in the game. And clearly, watching the video, I'm not trying to be a homer here. Watching the video, Stewart was the instigator, and Draymond tried to put that down.
Yeah, I agree. It hurt, but I don't think that was decisive in the game. You just hope it's not decisive at some point in the season because of the number of technical fouls that Draymond has.
Yeah. All right. One of the decisive plays in the game was Jordan Poole. The Warriors were down by 1. It was about 7 seconds left. Jordan Poole turned the ball over. It looked like he was trying to make a move on Alec Burks, and he slipped or he tripped or something. Here's the play right here. He fumbled the basketball. And I think this is an unfortunate play, made even more unfortunate by the fact that we've been talking about Jordan Poole's collection of turnovers. As he's taken on more duties in Steph's absence, he has more turnovers than assists during this homestand. Tonight, that was not the case. He had 6 assists and 3 turnovers, but it felt like this one, because the ball was in Jordan's hands at this moment in the game, it's going to be magnified.
Yeah, it's at the point now when Jordan has the ball and the shot clock is running down and he still has the ball, people are going to start to get nervous.
Yeah.
Because they don't know what's going to come. And, they understand how great he is and how, the gift that he has to get to the basket and all of these things. But the turnovers, they kill possessions, and late turnovers can kill a chance to win a game. Yeah. Not to say that they were going to win it, but they had a chance to tie it and win it. And this really gave them no chance to they were done after that. So this was a situation where he cut down his turn. He had 6 turnovers last game, reduced it to 3. But that one's, like you said, that one's going to be magnified because of when it came. Had he done that in the first quarter, it'd be like, oh, okay. But again, Jordan's going to have the ball. Steph Curry is still going to be away for another week or a week plus. He should be back within hopefully sometime late next week. But until then, Jordan's going to have the ball a lot more than anybody else. I don't see any other option. Yeah, Dante's going to have it some. Draymond's going to have it some. But Jordan is going to be the guy who is the double threat, the guy that scares people because of what he can do scoring-wise and what he can do playmaking-wise. But he has to have better control of his handle.
Yeah.
And that's what hurts a lot. His turnovers are usually not passing turnovers. They're usually dribbling in the crowd. They're usually dribble turnovers. And that's what you have to worry about.
Yeah, when we asked Steve and we asked some of Jordan's teammates about these turnovers and what they thought of that play, all of them stood up for Jordan, saying, well, wait a minute, we're not winning these games without him. We just had a 5-game win streak. He's averaging about 30 points per game. So, yes, so with the good comes a little bit of bad.
And that's been the case throughout the win streak, but they kept winning. And so tonight you lose a game, and it's like, okay. And again, to me, this is a case where the Warriors have been, they've been trailing in 4 of the last 5 games in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And had to come back to win those games. When you do that on a regular basis, at some point, you're not going to have the magic. Yeah. And tonight they were looking for it, and they almost had it. Klay made a huge shot.
Almost had it.
They almost had it, but in the end, the Pistons made a bigger shot.
Yeah.
Crazy shot, but. The magic doesn't go. You can't keep doing that. You can't keep falling behind. Detroit shot 67% in the first quarter. You can't keep letting teams do that to you, and you're playing uphill, 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 uphill all night long. And then the fourth quarter comes along, okay, let's go get it now. You know, yeah, you can hold Utah to 13 points or whatever it was in the fourth quarter. You know, you can hold, I think it was the Trailblazers to 16 points in the fourth quarter. You can finish teams off like that, but you can't make a habit of that without paying a price at some point. And tonight, you know, the Pistons won this game. It's the first time they've swept the Warriors in 14 years. So, but hats off to them because they found a way to do it.
Yeah, and I'm coming off of a double OT game. You know, when the basketball gods were looking at this one thinking, overtime? No, guys, it's not your night. All right. Hey, we have some injury updates, some actual substance.
Yes.
How would you like to hear from Steph Curry himself about his shoulder? He was on our broadcast, and we will hear from Steph when Dubs Talk Live, brought to you by FitAid, returns.
Dubs Talk Live is presented by FitAid Clean Energy and Sports Recovery, the energy drink for athletes. FitAid Energy is naturally sweetened with only 15 calories, no sucralose, no aspartame, and no compromises.
Again, so.
All right, my YouTube friends, thank you so much for joining us. We hope you are safe at home. We hope the power's on at your house and the rain's not too bad. There are some Poole comments here. Baby Babe says, Poole, stop dribbling. Yeah, I can understand the frustration there. And I see like what's at the root of this for Jordan. He wants to make his play for his teammates. He wants to help put a game away. That was he just fell. It was a weird one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but that's happened. I mean, Jordan's on the ground more than any other guy on this team, I think. You know, sometimes he's on the ground, he drives to the hoop and he gets knocked down or whatever, but he's often picking himself up off the ground, off the floor. So, but I just think, he's going to have the ball. So what the Warriors have decided is that we got to live with this. We have to live with it, and hopefully it'll pay off in the long run. That, you know, over time it'll start to even out to where, okay, you know, he'll make better decisions with the ball. And be more sharing of the ball at times when he should share the ball. You know, in the last game, the Warriors won, but we all saw, I mean, Jordan was not good with the basketball. You know, he had more turnovers than assists, and he had a scalding hot teammate in Klay Thompson, and there were times when
didn't pass it to him.
And there were times when Klay was wide open, which you hardly ever see a guy that hot get open. But he was open, and Jordan just, you know, and you can't. I know it drives the coaches nuts. They don't want to say it because they don't like the whole idea of somebody dribbling the ball away for 5 and 10 and 15 seconds. So much for 0.5 basketball.
Yeah. Can't pound the rock over and over and over and over. And then have 5 seconds to make a play. I gotcha. All right, let's talk about these injuries. Oh, goodness. Woo. Welcome back to Dubs Talk Live, brought to you by FitAid. All right, so earlier in the day, before Steve Kerr went to the pregame podium, the Warriors released some information about the injuries, which kind of tells me Steve Kerr is tired of talking about this stuff. So, all right, let's go to the injury roundup. This is from our colleague, Dalton Johnson, because there are some reevaluation dates you should know about. Steph Curry, reevaluated on Saturday. We'll give you more information about that in just a moment. Andrew Wiggins, reevaluated later this week. He was on the bench tonight. That is a great sign that Wiggins is back with his teammates. And then you've got Wiseman, Kuminga, and J. Michael Green reevaluated in 1 week. So for those 1 week guys, that stinks that they're going to need a little bit more time. We hope they heal up well. The Warriors could really use some bodies back. Let's talk about Steph, though, because also earlier in the day, Bob Myers was on the radio, and Bob Myers just threw a date out there. He's like, we hope Steph will be back on January 13th. And I believe that's the game against the Spurs that's on the road.
In San Antonio.
And then okay, Bob just named a date. I don't know that I've ever heard somebody do that, almost like a guarantee.
Bob Myers out there breaking news.
Yeah, but that seems to be in line with Steph's shoulder injury. That puts him at about the 4 week mark, I think. It just means that everything is healing well for Steph and that he's on track.
It's a target date, and that's all it is right now. But based on what Bob said, you know, and Steph didn't dispute it. You know, so I suspect that that's what they're looking at, that possibility. He's able to do some things around the gym. You know, and so for the first couple of weeks, he wasn't able to do very much. And so it sounds like he's starting to get where he needs to be to play. And the thing about Steph is that when he comes back, he'll be fine.
Because of his conditioning.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about Steph needing the conditioning thing where he needs, minute restriction because he's not ready to play 35 minutes. Steph will be able to play 32 minutes, 35 minutes when he comes back because that's just who he is.
Let's hear from Steph in his own words, who talked about a shoulder injury and his recovery.
Everything's headed in the right direction in terms of getting back. Hopefully next week. You know, it's weird injury for me just in terms of something I haven't had before, and just getting through that initial healing process. I've been on the court this past couple of days, really trying to test it and see where I am and working on my strength and endurance through my shoulder and all that. The body feels good. Don't think I've lost anything there, so excited to get back out there, enjoy my guys.
You said 2 minutes? I think he said 2 minutes. I don't know if he's talking to you.
All right, guys, great to hear from Steph Curry there. Things are looking up for him to rejoin the team pretty soon. Nice to hear everything is on track. I mentioned Wiggins was on the bench, also a good sign. He is taking part in live practices. He missed 10 games with the groin injury and then 5 games with this illness that he's been dealing with.
Yeah.
But seeing him on the bench in very close contact with teammates made me think, okay, this illness is close to over.
Yeah, he's over the illness, and now it's just a matter of getting his conditioning right.
Yep.
Because, in his case, he had a groin injury. So conditioning is kind of tough with that.
Yes.
It's not like he can just bounce back and play 35 minutes. No. And he may still come back with a minutes restriction. It's very possible, I would think. But Steve Kerr made it clear that Saturday is a possibility, but not a certainty. But I think it definitely feels like he'll be back before this homestand is over, which is next Tuesday when they play the Suns.
That's the impression that I got as well. They don't want to promise Saturday. Right. I mean, we were thinking maybe he would get to play tonight, his bobblehead night, but unfortunately that just wasn't the case. So we know that Bob Myers is like January 13th for Steph.
Target date.
Yeah, it's target date. But I have a feeling we'll see Wiggins on this homestand.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably the last
I think
one.
that was always the thought. Even, a couple of days ago when he was still, feeling off the end, getting over his illness, you knew that, okay, it wasn't going to linger for a full week.
All right, so J.K. still in the walking boots. James Wiseman was behind the bench, and J. Michael Green was spotted in the locker room by Dalton Johnson again. So those 3 right there will be reevaluated in a week. All right, when we come back on Dubs Talk Live, brought to you by FitAid, we need to talk about the two-way players who are playing like players, I would say. We'll also talk about something that could be coming up on this road trip. We will be right back.
Dubs Talk Live is presented by FitAid Clean Energy and Sports Recovery, the energy drink for athletes. FitAid Energy is naturally sweetened with only 15 calories, no sucralose, no aspartame, and no compromises.
He goes, optical illusion.
We're talking about Andre, who is still on the injury report, but he did warm up today.
He had a really, he had a good workout before the game. And when I saw him dunking, and I thought, okay, he's got to be close. He's got to be close. And so when I asked him, I said, did I see you dunk?
He's like,
optical illusion.
Yeah, that's Andre's. That is his sense of humor. That is definitely his sense of humor.
But the way he was working out tells me that he's getting closer and closer. So, we may see him within the next week or 2 at most. He's already done some scrimmaging.
We just talked about this. I can't remember where, but he said on his podcast, the Point Forward podcast, that he's like, I'll just drop in one game unexpectedly. You won't, and I was like, okay, do it, sir.
Knowing Andre, he might say something on his Point Forward podcast.
Yes, announcing
which usually comes out on Friday.
Okay.
And the Warriors play on Saturday. I don't know. I mean, I'm just, again, last time that's what he did. He waited till the last minute and then.
Yes. Well, we know he scrimmaged, which is the last step.
Yeah.
Okay.
When we weren't sure when he's going to play at all this season, and he, on his podcast, said,
I know.
Yeah.
I think players are communicating via podcast these days. And by the way, Draymond Green's podcast is coming back. He announced that. So I think there's a new episode coming out tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Yeah, I think so.
I think so. So, all right. That's one of the must-listens, in my opinion. I like that one. Yeah.
Yeah, Draymond has things to say.
When has he not, especially to referees, unfortunately. Alrighty. We got to talk about these two-way players.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Flo.
Well, they have 37 points tonight, 35, 37 points tonight.
I can't add.
35.
35.
Yeah.
But efficient, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey everybody, welcome back to Dubs Talk Live, brought to you by FitAid. Early on in this game, in the first quarter, Anthony Lamb and Ty Jerome combined for 15 of the Warriors' 25 points. And those were the guys who didn't play 40-plus minutes in a double OT game. These are also the guys who are scrapping, who want to earn a place on an NBA roster. What do the Warriors do with their two-way guys who are clearly contributing?
Well, right now you ride them, and I think Steve Kerr has not said anything about this. He hasn't addressed this at all, the future of the two-way guys. They have a 50-game limit, and this is game 31 for Anthony Lamb. It's only 23 for Ty Jerome. When Anthony Lamb is at 31, that means he has 19 to go before the limit. The Warriors have 43 games to play.
Uh-oh.
So look at the numbers, and I'm thinking about this watching the game. I'm thinking Steve Kerr is going to be glad to see Andrew Wiggins for two reasons. One, because he'll have an all-star back on the court who can score and defend. Two, because he can then give Anthony Lamb a break.
Yeah.
Because Anthony Lamb will be inactive for some games when Wiggins comes back. It's just going to happen.
Out of context, that's the funniest sentence. Give Anthony Lamb a break.
A break, yeah.
Yeah.
He's played 30 consecutive games.
Yeah.
He's played every game 30 in a row. And so, again, not when I say a break, I don't mean, I'm just saying cut back on some of his days. You got to save some days.
Yeah, you're
and you can't
50.
save them with Wiggins out. So, yeah, I think you'll see that happen. If Wiggins is able to play Saturday, maybe Anthony Lamb will be ready to play, but the fact that you have Wiggins coming back, you have Patrick Baldwin Jr. able to play some minutes now, and they're starting to trust him. It'll make life a little bit easier for Steve in terms of deciding how to use the minutes for Anthony Lamb.
Well, and there's an order of things. There's an order of things, right? The Warriors have to get to the trade deadline first. They have to see if any changes to this roster are coming. They have to see how the money sorts out. And then, like in the pecking order of things they need to do, then they will address if they convert one of these two-way contracts, both of them, neither. So it's kind of a back burner conversation right now.
Yeah, and the thing is that Jerome has got more time because he's got 27 games to go to the limit. And Ty didn't play. Why does he have 27 games to go? Because they didn't use him very much when Steph was healthy. And when Steph gets healthy again, they won't use him as much.
Yeah.
But Lamb was playing already at times. And now with Wiggins coming back soon, that'll help Steve sort of parcel out nights when Anthony Lamb can sit on the bench.
There you go. Okay, so the Warriors now 17-3 at home. Their 5-game win streak came to an end. Their record 20-19. Also, I said we were going to talk about something coming up on the road. We're going to have to save that for later, but I'll give you a hint. White House? Why don't we talk about that later, Monte? Okay, thank you guys for watching Dubs Talk Live, brought to you by FitAid. So the Warriors leave on the road trip on Thursday, January 12th. They should know if they're going to get a few players back. What's today, the 4th?
Today is the 4th.
Yeah, so a reevaluation date in a week. Yes, they can know who's ready to play on this road trip. Things will be. The Warriors will have more bodies, which is what they need because there's a heavy load right now for Klay, for Looney, for Draymond, for guys, and they need some help. That's wear and tear on the body.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately for them, they've only had the one back-to-back. But for the most part, this homestand came at the right time for them. Yeah. No travel, and for 3 weeks basically.
Yeah, and so, I think I heard Fitz say 22 days at home.
Yeah. So you're home for a while, and you don't have to get on a plane, and you're shorthanded. You can really use that time to sort of get a little healthier, and it's just easier. Imagine if they were 22 games on the road with this shorthanded roster. They wouldn't have a win streak at all,
No.
So and so this is good for them. The timing is good, and they've taken advantage of it. 5-1 at home, so with 2 more to go, and again, 2 games that they should win.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, there's an interesting question in here from Adriana, who wonders, can Rollins be converted to a G League contract? No, it doesn't. It doesn't work that way.
No, he's already got a standard NBA contract, as does Baldwin, but. They do have the 15th spot still available.
Yep, wide
and
open.
We'll see what they do with that. I mean, there's no indication that they're going to use it, but I still, the vibe I'm getting is still that there will be a move made before the trade deadline, and we'll see how, who, and when, and where. But if that's the thinking, then they'll have to obviously make some changes after that because. it's probably not going to be a 1-for-1 deal. You know, the last time they made a trade deadline move.
It's not going to be a 1-for-1?
Probably not going to be a 1-for-1 deal.
Okay.
The last time they made a trade deadline move, they brought in, I think the last time was Andrew Wiggins. And they got rid of like 4 guys, you know. Yeah.
That was a bloody night. I remember that. It was Alec Burks. It was Glenn Robinson III.
Spellman and Jacob Evans. I mean, all these guys were gone.
Yes, and they found out right after the game. I believe it was a loss as well.
So all those guys were here one day and gone the next. And so we'll see. But again, they're still 5 weeks before the trade deadline.
Yeah.
So we'll see where it goes.
All right. Thank you. Hey, we're getting some comments too about staying safe, everybody. Be safe on your drive home. We hope you guys are doing well as well.
Yes.
I think I'm running out of words tonight. I've reached the end of my gas tank as well.
Stay safe.
Yes. Everybody get home safely and stay off the roads tomorrow if you can. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you here again on Saturday.